Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams. How are you?
Good Prabhu, how are you?
As good as can be expected in birth, death, old age, and disease.
Yes, Prabhu. Can we start with the Mangalacharan?
Yes, please.
Shashwin, are you in a position to do the Mangalacharan? Okay, Prabhu, I'll do it. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Viditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhambitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vadhadi Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto. Today's verses are, chapter 2. Today's verses are 9, 10, and 11, Prabhu. So, can I start reading it, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Okay. Prasanna Vaktram Nalinaya Kadamba Kinjalka Pisanga Vasasam Lasan Maharatna Hiranmaya Gadam Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam. So I do the translation, Prabhu. No word to word.
Yes, translation.
Okay. Translation. His mouth is his happiness, expresses his happiness. His eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. Correct. So we move
I'll
on
read
to
the next Sanskrit.
Okay, Prabhu.
Unitavit Pankaja Karnikalaye Yogeshwarasta Pita Padapalavam Sri Lakshanam Kashtuba Ratna Kandaram Amblana Lakshya Vana Malaya Chitam. Translation. His lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kashtuba jewel engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. Purport. The ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all the other decorations on the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of material ingredients, otherwise there would be no chance of their decorating the body of the Lord. As such, in the Paramvyoma, spiritual varieties are also distinguished from the material variegatedness. So I think we're going to read the next one also.
Yes, Prabhu.
Someone else can.
Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to read the verse number 11?
Yes, Prabhu, I can try. Let me open
Yes.
my book. It's
Okay, Mataji.
2 to 11.
2 to 11, Mataji. Yes.
Okay, let me just check it. 2 to 11. Yes, we are here. 2 to 11. Okay. Vibhushitam Mekhalayang Lijyaker Mahadhaner Nipura Kankanadibhi Shigdhamala Kunchita Nila Kuntaler Virocha Manana Hasa Peshalam. Sorry, Prabhuji. Let me just. Shall I read the?
Yes.
Okay, translation. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most beautiful person amongst all others, and Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental beauty, one after another, in order to teach the impersonalists that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination by the devotee for facility of worship, but it is a supreme person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of the absolute truth is but his radiation, as the sun rays are but radiation from the sun. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Be hand over to you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing with our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2. Today's text, number 9, 10, and 11. And the chapter is entitled, The Lord in the Heart. So the previous chapter, as we may remember, was devoted to the Virat Rupa, being able to feel the presence of Krishna as he is present in the universal form. The rivers, the veins of his body, the trees, the hairs on his head, the mountains, the stacks of his bones, like this. And this chapter is different, devoted to Krishna and his Paramatma feature and his personal, direct personal manifestation. The previous chapter, First Steps of God Realization, was devoted to the energies of Krishna. And this is directly he in his spiritual form, which that God or anyone can have a spiritual form is sometimes hard for people to wrap their minds around, shocking even. There are those who don't like, they don't like, just like some of us don't like a certain vegetable. There's people who just don't like the idea that there's such a thing as spiritual form, that God has a spiritual form. These are the impersonalists, impersonal, often because of their being envious, as Lord Krishna explains in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that those who are envious emotionally disturbed. It's hard to have a rational conversation with anyone, even our own mind, even with ourself, if we're too, if our emotions are too strong. You have to wait till someone cools down, right? Or sometimes we take a walk because our intelligence just doesn't work the same. So there, as we discussed some classes ago, there's many people who will say that I am an atheist, and they're really not. I mean, that's not the real issue. The real issue is that they just don't like the the concept of God, of a supreme person, which is an emotional thing. It's nothing philosophical about that or logical. Just so the and then there are impersonalists who are just not familiar. They're interested in spirituality, and they appreciate that there's spiritual realm, but they haven't come to understand that the spiritual realm is not just a white light. That's you might say that's a natural first step, that there's spirit. I believe there's a spiritual realm, and it's all light, and there's more or less it's nothing, but but it's not a material nothing. It's a spiritual nothing. So at least there's some idea that there's more to existence than what we see. So in this chapter, the Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, which is as we may remember, Srimad Bhagavatam is the cream of the milk of Vedic spirituality. It is the very essence. Maybe some of us know that if you get milk from a cow and let it sit overnight, the cream will come to the top. The cream, you can pour that off, or most of it. So Srimad Bhagavatam is what is the word for that? I forget. Maybe someone remembers, but it is the cream of the Vedic literatures. It is full power, full on, full force spirituality. And that full force is this, just like in chapter and in the verse 9. So we didn't read them, but in the word for word, we have Vaktram, mouth, Nalina Ayata, spread like the petals of a lotus, Ikshanam, the eyes, uh, Kinjalka Pishanga Vashasham, saffron yellow garments Krishna is wearing, Lasat Maharatna, Haran Maya, valuable jewels are hanging, like this. So that's a lot of details. That's not just a white light. The white light has eyes, and the spiritual effulgence of Brahman is wearing ornaments and jewelry and a crown. And then in text 10, his mouth expresses his happiness. His eyes spread like the petals of a lotus. His garments, yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts. So Krishna has feet. So this can be, it's a little shocking to me. I mean, I'm not anyone special. It is inconceivable, I think. It is uh, that uh, that a being that with feet and eyes and hair and head, all these things uh, can be God, can be possessed of inconceivable powers and abilities. because it's not in our experience. The only people we know, well, I can speak for myself, but I think it's probably true that, there's no human I know who is something more than a human. you, there's no human I know that I would believe is God within. I've seen all of my acquaintances, they get headaches and toothaches. They tell me they can't sleep at night. And, you know, so how is it that a person this sounds like other people we know? And it does, and it is. And that's because we learn that the spiritual world is that this material world that we know about is a reflection. I thought of, or Krishna reminded me, that in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there is that verse, the first verse of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Urdhva Moolam Ada Shakam, Ashvatam Prahur Avyam, Chandamshi Yasya Parnani, Yastam Vedasa Vedavid. And the translation, the Supreme Personality of God, it said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots up and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns, and one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, now there is no ready experience in this world of a tree with branches down and roots up, but there is such a thing. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and the roots up. In other words, the tree of this world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. So I think that makes good sense. I mean, it doesn't sound crazy to me. That the original source of everything, that this world where we are living, it helps us to understand something about the original prototype, the source of this world. And of course, this is just scientific logic. We don't see baby hyenas born of giraffes. We wouldn't expect such a thing. We wouldn't dream, or maybe we might dream of it, but it's just, we don't expect that, because from giraffes, you get giraffes. From the ice box of the cooler in our house, we get ice. We don't put pies to bake. You don't get heat from a refrigerator. You know that's not going to happen, right? No one does that. No one puts samosas in oil in the ice box to cook, unless you're crazy, Time to put grandma in the hospital. If you see her doing that, we're very confused. So we don't expect that. And how could we expect something from nothing? That's not my experience. We don't get something from nothing. Something comes from something, always. We're not going to get all of these, the whole human civilization and so many different races and languages. There's thousands of languages on this planet, not hundreds, thousands. Well, variations. And all of the hundreds of thousands of songs and movies, paintings, all of that came from nothing? Does that make any sense? Does anyone think that makes sense? Did someone said that, well, everything that exists, originally there was nothing. There was just, imagine a room and there's nothing in the room, nothing. And then from that empty room, we get everything. How is that possible? So no, it makes much more sense, just like the example is given here, that there is a tree. I mean, imagine, well, the example that on the bank of a river, you have trees, and you look in the water when there's no wind, and you'll see the reflection of the tree, but the roots of the tree are closest to the bank, and the so in this way it's reversed. But there is a tree. There has to be. You can't have a reflection without something reflected. So this is simple logic. So if so, we're hearing that this material world with all the people and clouds and fruits and flowers and feelings and emotions, so many things, is a reflection. It's a reflection of the spiritual world, which Srila Prabhupada writes. So we're hearing today in this text 10, Srila Prabhupada says, the ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all other decorations are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of material ingredients. As such, in the Param Vyoma, spiritual varieties are also distinguished from the material variegatedness. So this is one of the simple points when we're explaining to our own mind or we're explaining to someone else that we have experience in this world. There are different, what do you call them? There's different categories of matter, right? There's gas, liquids, and solids. I think that's in chemistry, that's basically how they're categorized. So we have, of course, wood and stone, which we can hold in our hand and so physical. And then liquids, such as water and alcohol, and so many different liquids, milk, which we can't hold in our hand very well, but they are physical. We can see them. And then gases, such as propane gas, LP gas, the other ones, oxygen, hydrogen, so many. We can't see them. I can't see them. We can tell they're there when the wind blows, but we can't see the gases. And then there's also electromagnetic radiation, right? Cell phone signals, satellite TV signals, radio signals, GPS signals, so many signals right now. They're actually passing through our body right now, but we can't see them. They're there. And so spirit or a consciousness is just like that. It's real. We can't see it with these eyes. That's all. And it can have form. Electromagnetic energy has form. It has waves. It actually has pulses, which are waves alternating. Yes. And some people have experience of ghosts, ghostly astral entities, and they have form. I've seen such entities a couple of times for a moment. Many people have. And they have form, but it's not a form made of wood or stone or something like that. So the same thing. It's just extended. It's not some crazy idea that we don't have any reference of. So spirit has form. It can have form. And in the spiritual world, there are, as Srila Prabhupada says, it is full of spiritual varieties. It's not just a white light, some blank. There is a place where there's just white light, but the rays of the Brahmajyoti of Lord Vishnu. But there is Vaikuntha. We learn from the pure devotees, from the self-realized soul, from Krishna, of the spiritual world and spiritual planets and houses and trees and foods and clothes and jewelry, everything. It's just made of spirit, that's all. It's made of consciousness. So, like here, it says, none of them are made of material ingredients. Ishvara Paramakrishna Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So this is what someone said, well, what's God made of? Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. The body of God is made of knowledge. We have wood, we have stone, we have gas, we have water, and we have consciousness. It's another fifth dimension element, consciousness or knowledge with form, not just like a cloud somewhere up there, some big huge cloud, but Krishna. Vainam Kwanantamada Vindadalaya Taksham, with lotus petal eyes and playing the flute, which is a radical concept. God playing a flute is crazy. But why not? We play flutes, right? I mean, why not? I mean, that's one. Why not? We play flutes. What are you saying, that God's not capable of playing a flute? That's ridiculous. If he can't play a flute, then how come we can play flutes? So the whole thing, really part of it is just familiarity. It's who thinks about these things, who hears about them. And so in the beginning, it's just very, very unfamiliar to us, or many people. It's just, so we have to become acquainted. And it's reasonable that even for ourselves, what to speak of other people, it takes time to become at peace with it, to become, to accept it, and even theoretically. Oh, okay, I accept it. All right. Why not? I play the flute. I wear jewelry. At, God is at least as capable of doing what I can do. This is called logical thinking. Sometimes we don't, I mean, I know sometimes I don't think really. And people are very busy and they bandy about God, but not everyone really thinks about what that means. It means that, God is God. He has inconceivable abilities to do things beyond our imagination, and he is at least as capable of doing what we can do. Why not? So it's just unfamiliarity with spiritual understanding. Many of us, or not you, but I mean people in general, humans, we're all at different points of spiritual evolution, of understanding Krishna, and different people are progressed. So the point is being made here, and logically and reasonably, that and very specifically describing Krishna, how beautiful he is, whether in his full manifestation of Krishna Govinda, Damodar, or as Lord Vishnu, Lord Nrsingadev, Lord Ram, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Sri Advaita, all Krishna, the supreme Brahman, supreme personality of Godhead. So then in text 11, again, the Sanskrit, and it's good too. It is helpful. I mean to say, it is helpful. I find it helpful to deliberately read the word for word or read these, to hear about the personal qualities of the spiritual realm so that we can become at peace with it, so to speak, and appreciate and become attracted. More than that, to become attracted, to hear, just as in text 11. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. So as we so this is the process, that eightfold I think it's eight, good number of steps. Adal Shraddha, what is that? Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nista, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhava Krishna Prema. So this is the step-by-step process, and in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada explains that the process of bhakti is a process of increasing faith. We're not afraid. We should not be afraid of this word faith. Faith is not just something religious people have. That's a very unthinking idea, as we have discussed in the past, because every single human has faith. No one would dare turn on the telly unless they really believed that television show was going to be on. But we have faith. We don't know. The television could have been blown out by a lightning surge or electrical surge, or someone could have dropped it. We don't know. I would not bet my life the television is going to come on or my car is going to start. I believe it will. I have faith. Everyone has faith. So Srila Prabhupada writes that this process is a process of increasing faith based upon realization. That in the beginning we have some adal shraddha, some beginning faith, that is there something more? These people, these Hare Krishnas, they look interesting. Let me be with them. Let me hear adal shraddha. Sadhu Sangha, let me go to the temple. Let me look at the books. Let me associate. Let me learn more. And then we may become more faithful, confident that, yeah, this seems to be true. Yeah, there's so much good evidence. I'm going to follow it. So we have increased confidence. Just like it's same as anything else. Someone may tell us that if you do this business, you'll make so much money in 2 months. So we may not believe it. Well, tell me more. Tell me the website. Let me study it. Give me something. Let me learn. And then we learn. And oh, this is just a scam. I'm not going to do it. But then we may become confident. Yeah. So many other people are having success. This sounds good. I'm going to do it. Right? So same thing. Adal Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. So then we start following. And then by the Anartha Nivritti, we become more qualified, more capable of understanding. And we do understand more, and we become more excited. Oh, this seems to be really true. And we follow more strictly, Anartha Nivritti. And as we follow, then Nishta, firm faith. So that Nishta, so these stages, they're not, they don't start on Tuesday, end on Friday, and then the next one starts on Saturday. They're kind of blended in. They're all, because we're always associating with sadhus, right? And we're always bhajana kriya, and we're always on the path of anartha nivritti. But as we do these things, then our nishta, our firm faith, increases because we realize more for ourselves. Nishta. And then because we have more confidence, then we put more energy into it, and we begin to really like it. So that is ruchi, taste. We like to hear about Krishna. We like to chant our rounds. We like to worship the deity. We look forward to doing our devotional practices more. Again, it's not just cut off, but more. It's more. I'm looking forward to chanting my japa more. Nishta, ruchi, and then ashakti, and more of a warm attachment, a warm emotional attachment to Krishna. And it is so said by the pure devotees that as we progress into that stage of a Shakti, devotional service becomes much more easy. It becomes less of an uphill and much more of a downhill because we have a taste, we have emotional, heartfelt attachment. So that is a good, if we can get there, or excuse me, if we can get more there to that stage of a Shakti, that will be, I think we will all appreciate that because our senses will be much more spontaneously attracted to Krishna. No one will have to tell us anything. We won't even have to tell ourselves anything less because we will be automatically, we will want to see Krishna and hear about him like this. And then very advanced, deepening, that Ashakti, Baba, very thick emotional feeling, just like we feel for our children or we feel for some loved one, heartfelt, very heartfelt and deep and warm and caring, Baba, and deepening Krishna prema. So these are the stages. And Srila Prabhupada explains, or Srila Rupa Goswami explains, that it is in part a deepening of faith. Deepening of faith. I forget, what is the Sanskrit for faith? Shraddha. Faith, Adal Shraddha, beginning faith. So, like this. So, by hearing, Krishna's amazing. I even remembered where I started from. So I was saying that it's helpful, and it is our process to hear these things so that initially we can come to accept them as facts, and then going further so that this is our process. This is Bhajana Kriya. This is Bhajana Kriya. As we go on hearing about Krishna, it becomes more and more ruchi. In the beginning, it may be by force. Oh, I must hear Srimad Bhagavatam. It is my obligatory service to Krishna. It is the path of pure. I must chant my rounds. It is my path of progress. I should. But as we go on doing it, this is very real. As we do our japa, as we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, as we honor prasadam, as we see the deities, it becomes less and less I have to or I should, and it becomes I want to, and you can't take me away. And I'm going to get upset if you try and take me away. I'm reading and someone wants me to go do something else, but we get upset. No, I don't want to stop hearing about Krishna. I don't want to stop chanting I don't want to stop seeing the deities. They're so beautiful. Krishna is so, so beautiful. I am losing my mind for Krishna. So we want that. We want that. As Queen Kunti leads us in her wonderful prayer, that may my mind and love flow to you, just like the Ganga flows down into the Bay of Bengal, into the ocean, just spontaneously coming down. So Srila Prabhupada writes in this last text that we're studying, 11, the Supreme Personality of God is the most beautiful person among all others. And Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental beauty one after another in order to teach the impersonalist, that the personality of God is not an imagination by the devotee for the facility of worship, but is the supreme person in fact and figure. So this refers to a certain class within the Vedic spirituality, within Hinduism, who accept Panchopashana. They worship, or they look like they're worshiping Ganesh and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and Surya and Vishnu, but they actually don't think it's real. They don't think there are such people. They do their puja and they have their altar in their house, but they don't really think Surya is real. They don't think Ganesh is real. They think it's just something convenient, just a way, something to meditate on, and then you'll go beyond it. You'll go beyond Vishnu, go beyond Ganesh. They're just useful items. So no, that I mean, it's true. I mean, not to go off for too long, but just to make a point, it is true that no matter what anyone can fix their mind on for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, our mind will become more peaceful and we will develop better powers. If we just take a candle flame like people do, or they take the syllable Om, or like we're talking about here, a murti, anything. You take your shoe, put it on the table, and just look at the shoe for 15 minutes. You'll develop better powers of concentration, without a doubt. But that's not the goal of life. Just to get better power of concentration, or make your mind peaceful. You can make your mind peaceful by drinking a little wine, or taking some herbs, or taking a walk. There's so many ways to make one's mind peaceful, but that's not the goal of life. Self-realization is the goal of life, and understanding the absolute truth is the goal of life. So when we learn about that, then we find out about Krishna, that the Supreme Personality of God is the most beautiful person amongst all others. And Srila Prabhupada concludes by saying, the impersonal feature is but his radiation, just like the sun rays are radiations from the sun. So this is a nice analogy, as we were talking about, from Lord Krishna's body comes the Brahmajyoti, the spiritual light, and it is without variety. So any discussion or comments? Anything? Anyone want to debate? Anyone want to take the position of an opposing party? Feel free. If you defeat me, I'll join. I promise. I won't be stubborn.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Know anything? That's the problem, because you're gonna have to deal with arguments of Srila Vyasadeva, because that's all I know. So if you think you can debate with him, be my guest.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Most people, even who believe in God, don't think that God has a personal form. The conception of personal form, and then he is, having the activities with which we usually have with others, and then it's a difficult concept for them to understand that he has got a personal feature. So it's I find it like that in most people.
Yeah, me too. But it's a matter of becoming familiarized, and that's all. Like anything else, there's many. I mean, in school, right? When you start to do your math, your algebra, it's just all these things. But then, right? You practice a few weeks. Oh yeah, now I get it. A2 plus B3, and gradually it becomes very familiar, right? but it takes time, you know, and sincerity. Oh, well, how can God do these things? I don't know. You do them. You have a girlfriend. Why can't God have a girlfriend? At least theoretically. Huh? You can do something God can't? Well, I guess he can. Yeah, okay, so he can. And you have relationships. Why can't he have relationships? And he does. Oh, it's still hard to grasp, but even the demigods, and then that's the other thing, is not expecting that we will understand completely. Sometimes, well, I can't understand that, but don't fret about that, because even the demigods and the great sages don't understand Krishna completely. It is not possible. All we can do is understand what we can and offer respect and love Krishna. Krishna is not a thing that can be understood like other things in this world. So that's an important point to make to people. That Krishna is, that God, the Supreme Personality of God, it is fantastically possessed of infinite powers we are not capable of grasping. So don't try. And make peace with that. That's the meaning of God. He's full of Achinta Shakti. The planets, this planet Earth is floating. This planet Earth weighs billions and billions and billions of tons. You take one pencil right now, any of us, you take one pen, and you let go. It drops, doesn't it? So how in the world is this huge planet just floating? Not only that, but it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour for a long time. So how is that? That's just a little tiny little hint of the power of God. How can something what I forget the terminology for the submicroscopic size, the nano something. You have the millimeter, you have the centimeter, and then when you get like a billionth of a centimeter, then it's a nano, and you're getting around the size of DNA, and that DNA has the capacity within it to control all the functions of the body. How is that? That's just a spark of Krishna, God's power, God's ability. He's inconceivable. He is inconceivable. So we're not going to understand Krishna, but we can be okay with that. That just be okay with that and just appreciate him. That wow, he is amazing. And just appreciate, oh, he's running from mother to shoulder just like a baby. That's just amazing that he can do that. There's so many planets and universes come from him, but he likes to play like a little baby sometimes, or boy, and do mischief things and urinate in the corners of the gopis' houses. So, or he likes to appear as Lord Varaha, like a boar. Well, how can he do that? Well, we put on plays, don't we? Doesn't in London and different places they have the playhouses, and people dress up in all kind of different dress up as dragons. We like to play. We like to sport. So where does that come from? It comes from God, and He also likes to do that to please His. So He appears as a boar. He appears as a fish. Uh, he appears as Lord Nrsimha, half man, half lion. So it's just amazing. But the devotee means that the devotee just appreciates. Oh, you're so wonderful. The devotee doesn't try to figure out, well, how can you do that? We already know how he can do that. We've already accepted that God has inconceivable power. And if he wants to appear as a half man, half lion and rip apart a demon, or he wants to let himself get tied up by Mother Jashoda, then he can, and he has, and he does. And so we just appreciate, and then we experience the transcendental bliss of associating with him by talking about these things, which is a mystical thing. Because how is it? Uh, I'm sure all of us have had some experience that when you talk about Krishna and you describe Krishna's pastimes, there is a transcendental happiness that comes. And as we make progress in devotional life, ecstasy and joy, just talking about Krishna. So how is that? You talk about Prince Charles or whoever it is, all these different people of the world. You don't feel bliss. It may be a little interesting, what they're doing, but you don't become ecstatic talking about. I hope not, Prince Harry or all these people. you know, I mean, God bless, the Ukraine president, the prime minister. I can't pronounce his name, so we can say many things about him, but it's we don't get blissful, really. But we do about Krishna. Machita Magata Prana Bodhiyantas Parasparam. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that my pure devotees, they derive great bliss, great happiness, and satisfaction just by talking about me. So Krishna is amazing. Krishna is amazing. Krishna is very mysterious. He's historical. There's references to Lord Krishna in the Greek culture, other cultures, and all over India. Who is he really? He's just Rahasyam. Krishna is Rahasyam. It's a mystery. And so one has to have the association of a pure devotee who can guide one to understand Krishna tattvataha, in truth. So we are having this opportunity to connect with Krishna and feel Krishna. And actually, we already are, but to consciously enter into a happy relationship with him. So any other questions or comments? And we don't want to become condescending or what's the word for it? I don't know what the word for it is in the British language, snooty, or looking down our noses. Oh, we're the best. We know Krishna. Other people don't. Those people are karmis. No, we don't want to fall into that kind of thinking. That's not Vaishnava behavior. But rather, we should appreciate. Oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate, and also have compassion. Uh, you know, trying to find the right words to put it politely, but there are different levels of human beings, and some are not so bright, unfortunately, yet, and they're not able to grasp. And we can only hope that, and they will, over time, uh, come to the point where we are, and we are all progressing to where others are ahead of us. There's always those who are more progressed in realization of Krishna. So we can never become very proud. But we should not be put off or too bothered. Oh, other people aren't appreciating my uncle, my aunt, my co-workers. That's just the way it is. And so we want to take advantage ourselves, help others that do want to be helped, and wish everyone well. And get the heck out of here. Go back to the spiritual world. Because we're not everyone's friend. Krishna is everyone's friend. And Krishna will help everyone to go back to Godhead. So we shouldn't get too caught up in it. Krishna will take care. Some other questions? We don't really have a whole lot of power to change people. We can give them the opportunity, we can give them encouragement, and that's about it. Everyone's flying their own plane.
Yes, Prabhu, but giving prasadam at least can help them realize at least to a next step.
Yeah, and whatever we can do to somehow trick people into saying something nice. Boy, isn't that tasty prasadam, like you said? Or isn't that a very beautiful temple? Something get people to say something nice, you know.
Yes.
And be as real as we can and be as fixed as we can, because that's the most influential power that we have. Sometimes the best thing is to work on ourselves and take care of ourselves, and then automatically whoever we bump into, they will feel it more. You know, you run around trying to help everyone, and then you're not really. We're half baked ourselves. I'm guilty of that, especially in the past. It's nice to want to help everyone, but we also have to be a doctor. we have to be healthy, right? Yeah. Thank you for your comments.
Yes.
Who did that? So I guess we have to end.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. If there are no other questions or comments, can I request Prasanatma Prabhu to end the session? Are you in a position?
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, Dina Sharana Prabhu. All the devotees, all glories to all the devotees as well. Thank you for your wonderful class, Prabhu, about the ultimate goal of life and what we should really look forward to without getting sidestepped and distracted. So thank you for the wonderful class, on focusing also on Krishna and how to improve in our personal lives and to tell the different ways on how to worship and improve ourselves. So thank you so much, Prabhu. I request the devotees to please unmute and glorify His Grace Dina Sharana Prabhu for the wonderful class. So please let's unmute and join. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha.
Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila
His
Prabhupada
Divine
ki
Grace,
jai.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai,
Nityananda Gauranga Ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you for your association. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it, and I hope I can continue to meet with all of you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Be well.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.